Hi everyone guys and welcome to What Drive Us, a podcast where we will talk about the psychology behind leadership and motivation at work. I'm Jamo Solé and I'm just a freshman business administration student trying to figure this all out. So come along for the ride. But before we get into anything, I want to ask you something real quick. Have you ever had a job or even just a class where you actually wanted to be there? Like you were genuinely excited to show up? And then think about the opposite, a time where you were just dragging yourself through it, doing the bare minimum just to get over it. I mean, you were bored. What made those two experiences so different? Because honestly, the tasks might have been pretty similar, the hours might have been the same, but the way you felt about it is completely different. That invisible thing, that force that either makes you want to give up everything you got or makes you want to check out completely. That's what psychologists call motivation. And trust me, it's way more interesting than it sounds. Over the next 4 episodes, we are gonna get into all of it. Yeah, as you listen, not just one. One, two, three, and 4 episodes. Motivation, theories, leadership, burnout, and I'm even going to interview my own psychology professor. Yeah, his name is Jeff Hill. You don't want to lose that episode, please. But today we are starting at the very beginning. So, what actually is motivation? Let's go into it. So, what motivation is exactly? According to my psychology textbook, Psych by Spencer Rathus, motivation is basically the state where something inside us pushes us to do something. It's what gets us moving toward a goal. And psychologists break this down into a few different things: motives, needs, and drives. Think of it like a chain reaction. First, you have a need, something your body or mind is missing. Then that need then creates a drive. Kind of like an internal pressure that builds up and pushes you to an act. And the thing that guides where that pressure goes, that's your motive. Now, there are two types of needs. Psychological needs, they are the basic like food, water, sleep, things you literally need to survive. And then there are psychological needs, things like feeling accomplished, feeling accepted, feeling like you belong to somewhere. These aren't about survival, but they matter just as much to how we feel and how we perform. Here's what is really interesting though, because our psychological needs are shaped by our experience and culture. They can look really different from person to person. Two people working the exact same job might be motivated by completely different things. One person might be driven by, for example, recognition and praise. Another might just want to feel like their work actually matters. And that right there is why motivation is such a big deal in the workplace. You can't just assume everyone is motivated by the same thing. If you do, and a lot of companies do it, you are going to miss the mark completely. Okay, so now that we know what motivation is and we already covered it, let's talk about one of the most famous theories in all of psychology. Prepare yourself, guys. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow was a humanistic psychologist who believed that human behavior isn't just about survival or reducing tension. He thought people are also motivated by a conscious desire for personal growth. And that's what makes us different from other animals, our ability to strive to become the best version of ourselves. He actually called this self-actualization. So Maslow organized all human needs into what he called a hierarchy. Basically, a pyramid with the most basic needs at the bottom and the most complex ones at the top. At the very bottom, you have psychological needs. As we said before, food, water, sleep, warmth, the absolute basics. If these aren't met, nothing else really matters. You are not thinking about your career goals when you haven't eaten in 2 days. Above that, you have safety needs. feeling secure, stable, free from danger. Think job security, financial stability, or safe work environment. Then comes social needs, the need to belong, to have relationships, to feel connected to the people around you. This is huge in the workplace. By the way, people who feel isolated at work are way less motivated. After that, you have esteem needs, feeling respected, recognized, and valued. This is where things like promotions, praising for your boss, and the sense of achievements come in. And finally, at the very top, self actualization. This is where you are not just surviving or lifting it, you are actually becoming everything you are capable of being. Maslow believed this is the highest human motivation. Think about someone who turns down a higher paying job because they want to pursue work that actually fulfills them. That's self actualization. Now, here's how this connects to business. As a future manager or business leader, that's what I'm gonna do. Understanding the hierarchy needs from Maslow can completely change how you approach your team. If your employees are stressed about job security or feeling isolated, they are never going to perform at their best, no matter how much you push them. You have to meet people where they are on that pyramid first. Maslow's theory isn't perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world. Some critics argue there's too much individual variation for one hierarchy to apply to everyone. And they have a point. Some people skip levels entirely. Some artists give up financial security to pursue their passion. But as a general framework for understanding what people need to feel motivated, it's still one of the most powerful tools in psychology. I really think so. Okay, so now let's talk about something that I think is really relatable, the difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So, intrinsic motivation is when you do something because you genuinely enjoy it or find it meaningful. Like when you stay up late working on a project, not because you have to, just because you are actually into it and you really like it. The reward is the activity itself. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is when you do something because of an outside reward. It can be a grade, a paycheck from your boss, or even to avoid getting into trouble. The reward comes from an outside of you, as I said before. Now, according to psychologist Carol Dweck, this shows up a lot in how we approach the goals. Some people are driven by performance goals. They want the grade, the promotion, the recognition. Others are driven by learning goals. They just genuinely want to grow and get better at something. And honestly, most of us are mix of both depending on the situation. But there's where it gets really interesting for the workplace. That's what we are thinking about. Research actually shows that when people are intrinsically motivated, when they actually care about what they are doing, they perform better. They are more creative and they are way more likely to stick around. That's so common. When you like something, you do it because you like it, not because you have to. And that's the difference to perform better and to achieve a better level for your goals. And that brings us to the self-determination theory, called as SDT, developed by psychologists Daisy and Ryan. This theory takes the idea of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation and goes even deeper. SDT says that every single person has three basics: psychological needs that you have to be met for them to truly thrive at work, at school, or in life. The first one is autonomy, feeling like you have a choice in what you do and how you do it. Nobody wants to feel like a robot just following orders from someone else. The second one is competence, feeling capable and confident in your work. When people feel like they are good at what they do, they want to keep doing it. And the third one is relatedness, feeling connected to the people around you, feeling like you matter to your team and that your team matters to you. There's one else I wanted to add here that is not in my textbook, and it's the pressure. For me, I think pressure is a privilege. the ones that have pressure are gonna compete better in their job, in their sport, in everywhere. For me, I would like to say that pressure is a privilege. Let's continue with it. Here's the key that take away from SDT, sorry. For anyone going into business, when a workplace supports these three needs, employers show up more motivated, more engaged, and healthier overall. But when a workplace ignores these needs through micromanaging, pressure, and lack of recognition, motivation drops fast. As I said before, pressure is a privilege, but too much pressure in something you are not capable to do, then is when pressure is bad. And as we will see in episode 3, don't try to lose it, that's exactly how burnout starts. So, why does any of this matter for someone studying business, you will ask? Like, why should a future manager or entrepreneur care about Maslow or SDT or any of these theories? Here's the thing. Business run on people. And people are complicated. You can have the best product, the best strategy, and the best marketing plan in the world, but if your team isn't motivated, none of this works. Think about it this way. Studies consistently show that motivated employees are more productive, more creative, and make fewer mistakes, and are way less likely to quit. And when employees quit, it costs companies a ton of money to hire and train new people. So understanding motivation isn't just a psychological thing, it's a business strategy. The most successful companies in the world, like maybe think about Google, Apple, Patagonia, for example, they don't just pay their employers well, they invest in them, making sure their people feel autonomous, competent, and connected. That's the key to be a big and a good business. They build environments where people actually want to come to work. And that's not an accident, that's psychology in action. Alright, so let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today. We talked about what motivation actually is, needs, drives, and motives, and how it shows up differently in different people. We went through Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how understanding what people need at each level can make you a way better leader. And we broke down difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation and how self-determination theory, remember it guys, SDT, tells us that autonomy, competence, and relentlessness are the three core ingredients for a truly motivated person. This is just the foundations though, because motivation doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's heavily influenced by the people leading you. And that's exactly what we are going to talk in the episode 2. Next time we are diving into the psychology of leadership. What makes a great leader, what leadership styles actually look like, and how the person at the top of the team can either make or completely destroy their team's motivation. I'm really excited for that one honestly. So make sure you tune in for episode 2 of What Drives Us. See you then!